What's up, everybody? Back for another episode of the Crane Cakes Lex podcast. Getting ready to talk some USLC, USL Super League. Got the whole crew here ready for action. Some preseason stuff has gone down. We've got new signings on the men's and women's team. All kinds of news about where we're going to be at as far as the Open Cup. Just a lot to process. And of course, like that fabled game that we participated in, the clandestine, undisclosed, triple undisclosed, until it was no longer undisclosed, because as all things do, 400 random accounts decided to be like, hey, did you know this happened? I'm like, who even are you? They're like, I know this guy who knows a guy who knows a guy. But anyway, we'll get to that. We got everybody here. I'm doing great. I'm lying. I have a headache, y'all. But that's okay, because this is more important. Hanging out and vibes will cure everything. At least that's what I tell my doctor. And then she tells me to leave. So everybody's with us today. Dylan, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I had a pretty good day. The weather was, really nice, so I went outside, got a nice walk in, right? So I was just enjoying that. How about you, Tyler? How are you doing?
Oh man, we already went over the headache thing. But
Yeah,
it's
I
good.
know. I'm sorry.
Middle school soccer is starting, so I'll talk into that. We're getting ready for another season of middle school soccer. That's good.
I have to make sure I ask you how you're doing every pod
Make me
now
feel valued.
because you always ask us, so I need to make sure it's always in the back of my mind. So that was honestly just like a reflex to just ask you, even though you already said what's up.
But now I feel double loved, so it's okay. This is good. Kyle, what's up with you, man?
People always ask, people always ask why is Tyler Crane, but never how is Tyler Crane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just the way it goes. We're doing okay. Sounds like we're doing better than you. I did actually go have a physical recently. So if you're a dude of a certain age, you should go just get a physical, see what's going on. My doctor's literally my age, so it kind of makes me feel a little unaccomplished in life, but it's fine.
You're probably at the age where you have to get a colonoscopy soon, right?
Yeah, no, good one. No, actually, you can just send everything in a box now through the mail, so that's cool. No, I'm far away from that, fortunately. So my plan is to either, actually, to be honest with you, my plan is just in the next 10 years, hope that there's new technology, right? Like, I think that's everyone's hope. And you're in your 20s and you're worried about I got to get a colonoscopy. And you're just like, you know what, by then they'll have something figured out, right? So
science will advance.
Yeah, I'm putting all my eggs into that basket. So into the science basket. But we're doing good. I haven't been reading too many scouting reports on local county middle school soccer clubs. So I'll try to help you out with scouting this year, Tyler. I do live in Jessamine County, so if I need to go over to the west side and do some opponent research, Connor Stallion style, I'm happy to, put on a ball cap and kind of just stand over in the, the side of the stadium and just kind of be, watching little kids play their soccer. So
that never ends badly.
Right.
Yeah.
There. I'm just kidding, FBI agent. Don't come after me for that one. But I was going to ask how Jessica's doing, but she keeps leaving. So
I think she just decided that
you can ask me how I'm doing again.
He's like, I'm not going to be associated with the guy who said he's going to go watch middle school soccer. But
he's there. Hey,
all in support. Yeah, they're like, who's that one guy who's painted up yelling at Tyler Crane?
That's really what it is. You know, you care about the kids.
Who's the other weird bald guy?
Yeah. They're just like, good job, Tyler. I saw you write that down on the clipboard. That's literally just the whole time.
Yeah. Actually, if you are ever need a situation where you need to really let a referee know he's making a bad call or something, you maybe sub me in. I'll yell at him. I'll get carded. I'll leave, and you stay.
Perfect. And they'll just be like, wait, what just happened? I'm like, oh, that wasn't me, buddy.
That wasn't me.
Card me. And he's like, but he looked a lot. No. Jessica, how you doing? Oh no, the volume is gone. We muted Jessica. Well, we did mute. The universe muted Jessica.
The simulation that
we'll get her back. I'm gonna read lips now. Okay, it's gonna be like one of those bad lip reading things.
Can you hear me?
Hey,
oh my gosh, sorry.
She's saying
so ready
having
for that too.
Technical difficulties.
I think she's saying she had technical difficulties. I was reading the lips there.
Can you hear me though?
Yeah, we can.
Oh, okay. Yeesh. Sorry, guys. I have no idea what you guys were just talking about, but I'm good. I too have had headaches yesterday and a little bit today. Not as bad. But yeah, excited to be here for sure.
Heck yes.
For another recording.
Another recording. So there's a lot that's going on. We said we'd spend a little bit more time with Super League this episode, and we absolutely will. We're going to start with some championship stuff real quick. We don't have quite as much championship news as we do Super League stuff that we kind of want to dive into, and we'll get there. Promise. We got to show equal love as best we can because there's just so much going on right now. Biggest thing I want to start with. Everybody here saw the news, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And by the time you're listening to this or watching this, you probably have seen it too. The OG, the real OG, the original out of all signings in Lexington Sporting Club history, Kaelon Fox, he's retiring. Man, like I know we all kind of suspected, at least in this room, I don't know, that he might be hanging up the boots just because like a couple posts here and there, a little cryptic. I don't know. It just seemed like it was in the air. But then finally seeing him post the farewell to soccer and, the stadiums and the fans and the teams, man, that stuff always gets me in the feels. And it hits a little bit different too whenever it's one of our like year one guys, not just year one, very first signing. In fact, very first player I ever met on Lexington Sporting Club's team out of anybody. I never forget. I met him at like a open tryout thing. Came up, introduced himself. It was super cool. He was always a great guy, always welcoming. One of my son's favorites. Of course, like Amal was his like number one go-to, but then it was always Kaelon that he would talk about as well. So definitely somebody that was a role model for my own son. So yeah, it's like weirdly bittersweet. The sweet side being that I won't have to worry about him playing against a team that's going to play against us and then me having to root against him. But obviously, it's always one of those things when you see a player right off into the sunset, you're like, oh, man, I didn't know that last time was the last time. And it was. I don't know. This Kaelon, I mean, I think everybody here appreciates you, and we really, really are grateful that you were a part of our history, man. And in some ways, it's kind of like a cool honor that we're like the ending point. Like he decided to jump off after being with us, and we're kind of like that final piece in his story as far as playing is concerned. Obviously, he's got bigger and better things coming his way, I'm sure, lined up that he's going to delve into. But I don't know. I'm gonna miss him.
Yeah, he was. I mean, obviously, I was able to work really closely with him, and he was always a very professional. And I think, and I know Tyler, you and I were texting in those early days, and about like, hey, it'd be kind of cool if Kaelon Fox was a name kind of being floated around because he had played at UK, so there was like a little bit of a connection there. And this was shortly after he was at Tucson, I believe, and so then it comes to fruition, like you said. He's showing up at some of the earlier tryouts, and it's kind of at that point it was just a matter of time before the ink was dry. So yeah, I mean, very awesome stand-up guy, a really strong player advocate behind the scenes, which I don't know if a lot of people are super aware of. He was always extremely outspoken in a positive way for the players in terms of like the player union and the collective bargaining and all that stuff. So just a really good representative of the club and of the players too. And yeah, I mean, he's the OG, like the OG, like you said. So we'll definitely be missed, and we'll always be part of the story of Lexington SC.
Definitely gonna miss those goal line clearances. That's for sure. He had like 4 insane ones.
He had some fantastic goal celebrations too. Like obviously not a goal scorer in his position, but he had some pretty epic celebrations.
Yeah, you're not wrong on that, man. So we're gonna miss Kaelon. Best of luck with everything. Always fans, always agreeing. All right, away from bittersweet news a little bit. Let's, instead of talking about players that are departing off to the next phase and everything, we got some new players since we last came together, just 4 this time. So right now we are talking about Brooks Thompson. We finally got a goalkeeper to complement Ketterer, we have 2 now. So I know that was a little bit of a point of contention. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do without a second goalkeeper? Are we going to just have to like get anybody, or are we going to get somebody of quality? Definitely got somebody of quality. Kieran Sargent, so a fullback, a wingback. We got Josh Ramsey, center back, and we got Daniel Wu, who there were all kinds of rumors floating around, especially if you're on Twitter for a long time, that Daniel Wu was coming. Like some random faceless, nameless account was like, guess what? Breaking news. And everybody's like, who are you? And then I remember whenever I posted like, hey, welcome, Daniel. He's like, see, I told you. And I'm like, okay. All right, man. You did it. You did the thing. But we got 4 new signees. Obviously, they've been seeing some action. Pictures from our preseason matches, seeing them out there. So they're getting some reps. They're in market. Looking at these 4 names, they fill some holes that maybe we were kind of talking about being concerned about in the past, but also like we're really stacked with center backs now. We're like back to being pretty deep in that department. So we saw a couple additions that maybe it was like, oh, well, now we just have extra depth. We're good. Looking at these 4, though, who kind of stands out to you guys amongst the 4 that you're like, all right, I'm ready to see them in action? I think we'll go Kyle first because I think he got passed up and had to go last time, and we stole all his answers.
I was joking. I was joking beforehand. I don't know, Dylan, you might not have been on yet, but I was joking that last time we were like, hey, let's each come with someone to talk about, that's new that we're excited about. And I had 3 written down, and I went last, and you guys literally went like boom, 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 right on my list. So I'm like, I'm going first today. I'm going first. But there's also a lot of great players to talk about. So it's a good problem to have. I was going to talk about Brooks Thompson, getting a tall, young goalie, 6'4". He's actually, reading more about him, grew up in Floyd's Knobs, which isn't far away. So I know he did a lot of his academy stuff elsewhere, but, just across the bridge from Louisville, where he grew up, 22 years old, has experience at a few different levels. I guess some of our fans might know him just from being in USL 1 last year, taking over the starting role for Spokane, and never crossed paths with Lexington. If you look at the match chart, we never ended up facing him, but did help lead the team to the final match with getting a penalty kick result in the semifinals against Madison. So there were some pretty cool scenes from that, helping the team advance through to the championship, and now he's with the good guys. So just excited to have a little bit more depth in the keeper room, and again, 6'4", 22 years old, like seems like a perfect profile for a young goalie to grow and continue to improve too. And because he's kind of been a little bit a few different places, right? Like starting in. He's had a little bit of experience in what used to be the Swope Park Rangers and Sporting KC, if you're familiar with that club, and has kind of bounced around a few different places. So hopefully he can, build some roots, I guess, in Lexington and really try to make it his own.
Yeah, you can't really be mad at a keeper that's appeared in 2 finals in a row. Yeah, like that's pretty solid. And of course, it's not all just only your keeper, but I mean, obviously you have to take that into account. He's pretty exciting. Jessica, who you got? Which of these 4 were like kind of like?
Well, I mean, obviously, I'm partial to keepers. And Kyle, I don't think I could put it any better than Kyle did.
Too bad.
So,
I stole him. I said it first.
And rather than try to make something up about anyone else, I'll just agree with everything Kyle just said. So yeah,
Brooks Thompson, 2 for 2.
Nothing to add to that.
Nice. Dylan, who you got, man?
I mean, I would say him for sure. He's my favorite of the ones. That was a big question mark for me. We didn't really know what we were getting. We only had one announced, and no offense to Logan, but he just doesn't have the most recent experience, and not enough minutes for me personally. And Brooks has a lot of minutes and a lot of really good minutes, worthwhile. He has a 67.1 save percentage with 60 saves and 5 clean sheets in 15 in 16 games last season. He's a really good sweeper keeper as well. He's got really good distribution on the ball, and his just reaction speed and decision making, like for a young guy to have that good decision making is like really, really incredible. So I'm really hoping this is our starting keeper. I'm very high on him, and overall, honestly, this might be my favorite signing of all this season.
So yeah, that was going to be my question: is if you could, if you would have chosen which you think would start between Ketterer versus Thompson, but you answered it. Yeah.
Man, like all in from Dylan. Favorite.
If I knew he was your favorite, now I feel bad.
Yeah.
No,
Wow.
I pretty much said what I was going to say anyway. So
yeah, no,
yeah,
for sure.
Really inconsiderate of you.
Logan Ketter and I share a birthday, which I do enjoy. So I'm a little bit biased there, but I mean, it's hard to obviously. Logan's what 8 years older, so or 9 years older maybe. So you would just instinctively think, well, he's got more of the experience. But I mean, to Dylan's point, there are plenty of accolades already in a young career that Brooks has put together. It's pretty impressive. So we'll see.
I'm definitely feeling good about like our goalkeeper situation. Like I still kind of want to see like what happens with goalkeeper 3 and who that is and where they stand with everything. But I feel like our 1 and 2 is pretty solid. I feel good about it all. I'm gonna go off the beaten path. I'm just gonna be. I'm being different.
You're not gonna say Brooks.
I'm not. I'm not a conformist like you all. Just fighting the man. I'm gonna say Kieran Sargent. I'm really excited to see what he has. Like I feel like everything that I've looked into about him and watched his game, he seems like a really explosive two-way fullback, and I like his ability to be employed as a wing back. I feel like he's great defensively. He's so good at intercepting, regaining possession, making sure that those counterattacks on the wings die out quick. He's also phenomenal with his crosses and chance creation, and I just feel like he's a really strong source of feeding the ball to our attackers, which we need. We need people that can really get the ball in the right positions for these strikers that we have. That way they have a good chance on goal. And I just feel like he's really composed with his delivery. And it's just really exciting watching how explosive he is on the wing. He's one that I'm really I have my eyes on. And, I don't know for sure. I can't say positively that it was a starting lineup, but it definitely seemed like from the video that Nashville had posted from this past weekend, which we'll get into preseason stuff, but it definitely looked like that was very much a starting setup that he was involved in based on the video alone that Nashville posted. Now, it didn't show everything that was happening, but the players that were there in my mind were kind of like, yeah, you're probably in the starting 11, but you never know. But it does kind of encourage me that it seems like they believe in him to play with those players that I consider starting caliber. So Kieran Sargent is probably going to be mine. Take that.
I want to give a shout out to Josh Ramsey because I do think he is a good signing. I don't necessarily think he will be a starter. I think it's a really, really good depth signing, though. He was really successful in college. Notre Dame has been known for their defensive prowess the last, so many years, and he's been a big mainstay part of that. And he's played like nearly 7,000 minutes, which is an absurd amount of football. Yeah. And, one thing, Kyle, what's the best ability?
Availability.
Thank you. 7,000 minutes in a college season. He's got the best ability, so I think that's really important. And he was also like, not only was he there on the field, but he was present and he was strong. He had good awareness. He was a big physical presence. So I just overall like the signing, good one.
As a teacher, the fact that Dylan called on you like that cold call, Kyle, that means he believes in you and he knew you had the answer. So
yeah,
gold star, Kyle.
Thank you.
It's good. I mean, since we're going to go ahead and say everybody, I mean, I will say I am excited to see if Daniel Wu rises to the occasion in the championship. I've heard a lot of great things. If he can kind of stay in the right mindset and do his thing, he could be a really talented center back. So I think he's a pretty solid depth signing from what I'm hearing. So very exciting. Couldn't leave him hanging. Not going to leave you hanging, Daniel. I got your back, man. Let's kind of talk into, okay, I already kind of hinted at it. Preseason. 2 preseason matches since we were together. We got to start with the biggie, don't
Dude,
we?
we're 20 minutes in and you haven't even mentioned Messi.
I know.
Like what?
This
is what the people are.
Kyle.
Okay, it's
well, except for that
good
one
point.
person who doesn't like when I build suspense. But I'm building suspense, Kyle.
People are just fast forwarding until they're like they hear Messi.
I know.
Like, oh, Messi.
When's he gonna say the GOAT? I should have just used a bunch
Speedy? No, I'm just
yeah. Oh yeah.
We're gonna
See,
say-
you know the right answer.
We're gonna say Messi at various times throughout the episode just to throw people off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There
It'll
you
be
go.
really messy. Yeah. Thank you for laughing, Jessica. These bums over here.
Don't do that, Jessica.
I did it.
He doesn't deserve it.
It only
don't.
encourages it.
Don't feed the
Yeah.
animals.
Now I'm unstoppable. There's no stopping me. I got attention from one person. It's over now. Hey, but this whole preseason match was wild because we were supposed to face Columbus Crew 2, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere it's like surprise, undisclosed opponent at undisclosed location. And then I think from what I saw, and kind of what you feel, it almost feels like it fell through, and then we're gonna go play some junior college opponent, and then we're just keeping it under wraps because it's kind of that's kind of embarrassing. We had to drop down from Columbus Crew 2 to this random high school team or something. So you kind of start wondering oh man, is that what is going on? And I think everybody that was poking fun at the team was, partially because of how serious it was and we can't tell you anything. Don't say a word. But at the same time, assuming that it was more of an embarrassing circumstance. Lo and behold, it was not. We're off here playing Lionel Messi. And I think everybody's mind was blown whenever that started coming out. What the heck? Because at first people started murmuring and they're like, oh, yeah, it looks like they're in Fort Lauderdale. I wonder if they're playing a Miami team. Could it be Inter Miami? And everybody's chuckling and laughing about it. No way, that's not going to happen. But then once people start feeling maybe that is what's happening, of course, nobody assumes that it's going to be Messi or any of the starters. And then from what we kind of gathered, what's kind of slipped through and what the club has released, it sounds like it was an awful lot of starters. And in fact, the only person to score against us was Messi. And we still came away with a draw. We came away with a draw against Lionel Messi and crew. That's kind of insane to me. And I don't know how you gather clout better than that as a USL championship team than to say we played Messi and the other starters and we got a draw. The whole time that all these rumors were swirling, I'm oh my gosh, I know it's Miami that's keeping the clamps on this thing. But can we please let Lexington just tell everybody something, hint that we played Messi, hint that we played Miami, if that were the case. And then finally it came out. That is about as deep a piece of lore as you can want. You're always going to be able to be hey, you want to know which USL championship teams played Messi? Not yours. Fun fact. But it's cool. And it's cool that we drew against them. But honestly, in my opinion, even if we had lost, who's going to really clown on you for losing to Messi? Nobody's going to be heard Messi dropped a 3-piece on you. Well, yes, he's Messi. But I feel aside from winning, it's probably best case scenario overall. I don't know. What you guys where were your heads at with this?
I mean, the man is the greatest of all time. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. And it's super cool. It's a cool experience, and then there's Jordi Alba, who also played, Busquets played, Suarez played. So all of them, it's crazy and it's so cool. And we were able to score. And I think it's even cooler that Messi scored on us, that just adds to the mystique of it. And
it almost proves he was there, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
Now you can't say
and he was trying.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
And I think not only is it a great experience overall, but this has to be a fantastic chemistry builder for the team. All these guys can say that they've met Messi or this once in a lifetime experience, and they've all shared it with one another. And we saw on Instagram. A lot of them are posting like, "Oh my God, I'm so blessed," whatever. And I have to think this does wonders for chemistry building for the team.
Well, and I think too, there's been a lot of skepticism as far as earning our way to championship, or people being upset with us going to the championship league. And so I think that also kind of solidifies, like, we deserve to be here, and we're building a really strong team, and we were able to perform against Miami. And so I think it really also just solidifies where we're
Drove
at.
that point home. Yeah,
For sure.
I 100% agree.
Like everybody else in Lexington, basically that day, I had a source that was there, giving some info. I felt like everybody, Tyler, to your point, it was just like, there, whether it was like on Discord or Twitter or whatever, just like
Reddit,
everybody knew. And it was like, I don't even know how, but fortunately I still have some friends in the club, and obviously, it's all just for like, check this out, this is so cool, type of stuff. So nothing bad, but like it was like, you find out that it's Inter Miami and you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, I'm sure they'll have some, decent, and then you're like, oh, the starters are playing. You're like, okay, some of the starters will be there. And it's like, no, like the starters are playing. And so it was just one of those like kind of surreal, like wild, moments. And then it's like, we went up, I believe 1-0, if I'm not mistaken. And it's like, okay, and then of course Messi scored. But I mean, just it's a really cool experience for the club. Really neat that they're able to actually share it eventually, because I was like, it's gonna be pretty lame if they go through all that. Word is that not very surprising, Messi's got that, everything kind of runs through him, like everything that goes out externally, which is not surprising in the least bit. So you're kind of dealing with a little bit of that too, but just the story that our players will be able to tell. I hope it's not the highlight of the season. Like, that would be kind of a bummer, but
why'd you put it out into the ether?
But I don't want it to happen.
No,
I don't want the players to be like, we did it.
If there's anything though to reflect back on and be like, that was a rough season, but we tied Messi's. I'm just gonna be like that meme, the dude like biting his gold medal down at the very bottom of the podium,
drinking champagne.
Well,
we played Messi.
Well, and I wondered too. Obviously, we don't know exactly what led to us playing them instead of I forget who you said we were supposed to play, but
Crew 2.
I think it's also smart on part of LSC being like, okay, this is it's really stirred up a lot of conversations and talk about it, and I think excitement for the beginning of the men's season too. And I think it'll draw a bigger crowd in that sense too. So I think that was also strategic in that sense.
I mean, I've never seen their social posts blow up like that. I mean, it went insane,
Exactly.
And it just, it's kind of like Dylan said too, like him talking about the chemistry of it all. We go into the season and we start seeing like, okay, like I know we're not in the same conference, but still, like you think about rivalry, like Blue City kind of comes to mind an awful lot because we share so many fans. There's the whole UK U of L thing, like, and you start seeing like them, and you start thinking about all these other opponents in the championship, and you're like, man, this feels kind of daunting, considering the tough times we've had the last couple of seasons. But then you go and you play a team that's so stacked like that, and yes, it's preseason. Yes, they could have been like not going 900 miles an hour, sure. But at the same time, it still feels good. It still feels like you're trying to go out there and be competitive. So I think it is cool. And like those kits, like I feel like they now belong in a museum. Those warm-up kits. I know when everybody first saw them, they were like, oh, I don't know about that, because they look like polka dots from really far away. And when I thought they were polka dots, I can't even lie to you guys. I was like, that's a big no for me. But then you would get the clear picture, and it's like mini horses with SC in between them all. And I'm like, all right, up close, those are dope.
The detail's cool, but the gray is a little, it's hard to pop in gray.
Right. Yeah, it was almost like they were too small or something. But honestly, it wouldn't have mattered. It could have been the ugliest kid I've ever seen in my life, but the fact that we played Messi in it and now deserves to be like enshrined somewhere. It just needs to be
I'm
like
never watching this again.
Yes, the Messi kit. That's what I want it to be. Man, what I wouldn't give to get one of those. That'd be crazy. But it was kind of fun. Otherwise, yeah, people were trying to clown a little bit on them. It was like weird watching the reactions because I feel like it's like the first time we've seen a Hummel produced kit. But we all know like those training kits like that, they're not ever going to be like refined in the true essence of what they're going to put out. So I didn't think they were that bad once I saw the details. But in any case, they're legendary. That's how it's gonna be. Now, kind of I hate coming off of like this mountaintop. I feel like I just want to stay up here forever and be like, we played Messi. But we have to talk about playing Nashville. We played another first team out of MLS, and it was their first team. It wasn't like reserves. It wasn't like they just trotted out like a bunch of trials. I mean, I know that like for part of the format of the match, because it was 120 minutes, 2 separate 60-minute chunks that I don't know if we switched out for the second 60 minutes, but I know Nashville did because they posted it. And the second half of the 60 minutes was more of like their trial list or their bench guys. The first half, though, was full force. And that one did not turn out as good as the Messi match. But I think that also, for as much as people were kind of looking at that 3-0 defeat and getting a little like bummed out by it. I mean, Sam Surridge, he did his thing, scored a hattie on us. And I think it was all off set pieces based on the video from Nashville. This is where things get a little like funky because I even get caught up in the hype in preseason. When we do really well, I'm like, we're the greatest team in the universe. And then when we do bad, I'm like, oh man, what's going to happen now? And then I think that having these two matches next to each other, which it's weird that they're in the order they are, because you would assume, you tackle Nashville and then struggle with Messi. Kind of a weird situation. But I think that having these two matches to juxtapose against each other is a good reminder to us that this is preseason. And there's probably some experimentation that was going on in both of these matches. And so now, hopefully, we have a little bit of a more clear picture of what we might want to do and what we should maybe not do or try and refine and change up. I don't know. That's just my personal feeling. How are we feeling after this Nashville loss, after riding the wave of the Messi draw?
Well, part of me thinks, and this is my tinfoil hat, so guys get in with me,
Is that what's under your beanie?
Yeah. Stay open-minded on this, but I kind of think that Nashville wanted to play us a little harder to humble us after our experience with Messi. I think they saw that we got a big head. We played Messi. We got a lot of publicity. We scored on them, and then they put 3 on us, and, it's a hat trick. And, so I kind of think there's an element of that. They just kind of want to, hey, welcome to soccer a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
yeah.
In fairness, though, I don't think you're necessarily wrong, though, because Nashville has a lot more to prove than Inter Miami. So you might not be so far off, man. They might have been like, after last season, let's do this and let's kind of start it out right. And they did it in front of fans, too. They had their season ticket holders there. So I think for them, like you just said, it was more of like let's show that we are going to be more of a challenge. And they really probably put on a show for those reasons. So I think it's also tinfoil hat, in my opinion, man.
All right.
Yeah,
fair
I
enough.
agree. And it's all about learning and growing and figuring out what our strengths and weaknesses are and what we need to do from there.
I would just add that I'm kind of like Tyler when it's the positive preseason result, but a loss, I'm just like, it's preseason. Who cares? So
right.
Yeah.
I see no negatives in preseason. I'm just that. I guess I'm that type of fan. Also, I don't think Peyton Manning ever won a single preseason game, so I'm just conditioned. Like I'm just like, they don't even count. Don't even worry about it. It'll be fine.
Yeah. We're not even trying.
I do wish, because we have a couple home preseason, right? I wish more than just that last one was available to the public. I think it'd be really fun to see them a little bit more before the season starts.
The UK one especially.
Yeah.
because there's so many crossover fans, that maybe like they go to UK games if they don't go to LSC, and
Right.
that would be a really good one to capitalize on. But
I agree.
I don't know. Who knows? Maybe something will change between now and then. But
we're not in charge.
I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe they're listening.
Definitely not in charge, right? But I mean, we do have a few more preseason games to go. We've talked about this. I do feel encouraged that we have quite a few games to try and work things out, especially since, this team got together and then basically a week and a half, 2 weeks later, they're playing Messi. So there's a lot to figure out. It's not like, another point to be had. Nashville, a lot of those starters are returners from previous years. So the chemistry is already there. Our chemistry is pretty young. And I don't think, anybody should be like, oh, no, we don't have chemistry. We're settling. We're settling in. That next game that we're going to go and tackle, it's going to be here. It's against Detroit, a fellow championship team. So I guess we'll get a little bit of a taste of what's going to happen going up against another championship side. See who they have. They've been adding some new names. So we'll see who ends up being there competing with them and kind of what challenge they bring to the table for us. So I think maybe that'll be a little bit more of a true litmus test in some ways, because we'll have had 2 matches as a team to kind of figure things out. We've been together for a little bit longer on the time, got an extra week to figure stuff out. And then we're going up against an opponent in the same league. So I don't know. Hopefully we'll kind of get another peek as to how we're evolving and what's occurring. And since it's at our house and we're in control, I do hope we get some pretty steady updates from this one. I know it's challenging when you're away at somebody else's stadium playing somebody else's team. They have their own rules on what they want to get out and what they don't want to get out. And I also understand you want to keep things under wraps so opponents don't have, all this extra info on you. But with it being home, I don't think it hurts for us to have like lineups or like, hey, blah, blah, blah scored, or hey, we're subbing out this person for this person. I think those are pretty reasonable things that we should have access to. And I'm hoping we see that against DC. Why I say DC? It's Detroit. I guess DC FC. Yeah, sure. So I don't know. How are we feeling against that? What do you think? Let's do like a quick one. What do you think we're going to do against Detroit? Win, lose, draw?
2-0. That's my prediction. Yeah, us.
Okay.
2-2.
2-2. Okay.
I'll say 3-3.
Oh my goodness.
It's a lot of goals.
I'm gonna say 2-1 us. I'm going 2-1. That's what I think I got in the chamber. All right. We shall see. Everybody's predicting draws or wins, so that's good. We were at least feeling somewhat good. Nobody said we were going to lose, so we'll see what happens this weekend. Let's kind of shift competitions a little bit. Somebody actually had asked us of us, so yeah, we gotta bring it up. There was also some information about the Open Cup, the formats, where we're going to be at as far as like entrance into the competition. We're going to be round 1. So we were being lumped in with the bottom tier of USL championship teams that have to enter with MLS Next sides, USL 1 sides, and some amateur sides. So we're going to be going up against pro and amateur sides when we enter the Open Cup. And we're going to have to pretty much fight our way all the way to the top. It's going to be a long road. Unless I'm mistaken and I misread something, though, there's no Vermont Green that can come after us. We're okay. It's okay, guys. There's no Vermont Green coming our way. So
I will forever be haunted by Vermont Green.
And how nice all their like content creators and supporter group people are to me all the time. They're always like, man, you could have been real salty about all that stuff. And you were pretty gracious. And I was like, yeah, I was kind of vibrating with rage inside though. But yeah, on the outside, I was like, it's all right, guys. It's fine.
Why didn't they send us some ice cream, some Ben and Jerry's?
That's what I'm saying, dude. They could have at least been like, have ice cream, feel better about life. And I don't know. Or maple syrup. Like, where's that at? Like, that stuff's expensive. I would love that as a gift. Fresh maple syrup from Vermont. Hook us up. But there are some amateur sides on there, USL 1 sides. What are our thoughts on how we feeling about entering with amateur sides, USL 1, MLS Next Pro, and having the long road to climb or travel, I should say. Not really climb. You don't climb a road unless it's one of those weird Gatlinburg roads that goes up the mountain.
Ugh, hate those.
I know they kind of get intense.
I mean, I don't know if I would be comfortable while hoisting the Lamar Hunt Open Cup trophy, knowing that we entered like in the round of 32. Like, we're gonna win this thing. We're gonna do it the right way. You know what I mean? Like from the basement all the way up. So let's just do it. Let's just start from the jump and get in there. Yeah, we play who we play. Anyone, anywhere, anytime, and except for Vermont. And I'm still getting some PTSD.
Yeah, it was, oh man, Kyle, that triggered me a little bit, man. It's okay.
Yeah,
it's all right. I need to like comfort item. I don't have anything close by for comfort
so
item.
yeah, no, but in all honesty, I think it's a great opportunity. Like, I think what is so cool about these type of competitions is that you can cross different. What are you doing?
It's my comfort item. I found it. Ted Lasso is my comfort item.
Oh, okay. All right. If you're listening to this,
Tyler has had a long day.
Yeah,
I've had
if you're
a very long
listening
day.
right now, Tyler is. You'll have to go check this out on YouTube. Tyler
Or
is
Spotify.
Yeah, we're driving the video
caressing.
version.
That's true. Tyler's caressing a Funko Pop version of Ted Lasso. So
It's because Kyle said the phrase.
But anyway, I think it's cool to see all the cross up in levels and different divisions playing each other, pro, amateur, and all that. So if you want to celebrate the best part of this whole system, this whole setup, then you can't be afraid to be a part of it. So, and other than MLS teams, like, now we're the big fish, so to speak. So I don't, at some point you're gonna have to back it up on the pitch. So might as well start.
Very well said. I agree with you. You play who's in front of you. It's all about the storylines. That's what this thing is all about. The different moments it creates from these different scenarios. So I'm all for it. We play who's in front of us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at it in any way. Like, I think, like you all said, you just gotta earn your way no matter what. And I think there's really no better way to do it than to have to play through all the levels, and not all in this case, but majority when we're talking about pro sides and when they enter in, you can't be scared of whoever you get matched up against. There is undoubtedly a lot riding. Like year one, we drew Louisville and we were a fresh team and we did pretty good against them. Honestly, I mean, for them, I feel like that was the low of their season. They were like, I can't believe we only scored 1 goal on them. And we're like, yeah, well, it's true. And then last year, I think it was a little traumatic what happened in Vermont. So you do have those like risks of, oh man.
Well, what happened against Vermont is because of you guys. It's all both of you, Kyle and Tyler. It's their
I wasn't
fault.
even wearing my cleats that day, buddy.
It was me.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Hand up.
Yeah, I'm just.
I think I said. I think I said touchdown.
Yeah, Tutty. Yeah,
I said Tutty. An extra point. The whole thing. I think I literally said 7-0. So.
Yeah. Sure.
Hey, how many goals were scored though?
Yeah. Fair point.
Well, how many were scored?
They almost got
4-3
from.
I think we lost 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we lost 4-3, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, you were right. You're some way.
Wait, 3 from set pieces and 3 from set pieces against Nashville. Whoa.
Well, I was gonna say a concerning part, and I do think that that's something that, like, yeah, it's almost like the opposite of a lot of sports where like the defense is strong at the start of the season and then it takes time the offense to click. I do feel like maybe in soccer it's the other way where like defensively against set pieces you're pretty vulnerable early on because you don't have any scouting data on these teams, right? So I do hope that's not because the first year that was a real problem with the club. It felt like with set piece defense.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously different players, I get that, but that can be something that's super frustrating as a fan base to continuously struggle with set pieces. So hopefully, that's not an issue post Nashville.
It'll be fine. Everything will be fine.
Speaking of set pieces, though, I was looking at the different promotionals, and there's going to throughout the season, if LSC gets a set piece, everyone gets an 8-piece Chick-fil-A nugget.
Whoa!
Right? All season.
That's
Plug
kind
that.
of
Plug
Like a
that
set
in
piece
there.
goal.
Yeah.
Free food.
Oh wait, we have to score
So-
on the set piece.
Yeah.
Yes.
Would you
Yeah.
Almost like every time we get a set
Score.
piece.
She just
Score a
said.
set piece.
She just
Get
said
an
anytime
8-piece.
we get a set piece. She
So you
didn't
think
say
every
goal.
corner kick you get 8?
Score a set piece. I'm sorry. I should have
Dylan was running away with it. He's like,
She
"This is
didn't
about to
read
be
the
best year
terms
of my
and
life."
conditions.
You didn't. You're like the guy who collected all the Pepsi and wanted his jet at the end of the day. I don't know if you guys
Yeah.
ever saw that documentary.
Yeah.
I've never seen that documentary. It just sounded like something you made up. Is that real?
Yeah, no, it's a guy who like they did I think it was Pepsi. Wasn't
Pepsi
it Pepsi?
giveaways. Yeah.
Yeah, they did Pepsi giveaway where like you get so many bottle cap whatever tokens and you turn them in for t-shirts and whatever. And they ran this ad that was like, if you get 10 billion credits, you can buy this fighter jet. And so someone did it, and they did not give him a fighter jet.
What?
Dang.
It's
What
also
did he
like
get?
the
Did he get any?
McDonald's Monopoly stuff too. Right.
Ugh.
Oh yeah.
Rigged.
Yeah.
Oh, McMillions. Yeah. Great show.
Super.
I don't know what he got. I think he got a lawsuit actually. Like I think they sued him. Like it went the other way. I think he like literally was on defense. I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch it.
Crazy either way.
I just love the way you said that. He got lawsuit actually.
Yeah.
Oh, that poor guy. Man. No, that would. I'm down. Let's score all the set piece goals so I can get some free food.
Get all the Chick-fil-A.
Yep.
Yep.
All the
Is
food we
it
can handle.
is it both Super League and Championship, or is it just
Yeah.
Championship?
Oh, what the heck?
Whoa.
I
We
know.
signed
I
a
know.
bunch of forwards for Super League. We're
I'm
about
gonna have to pay Maddie Parsons anytime she scores because she's gonna be getting me free nuggets.
she's probably listening right now.
Yeah, I know.
Maddie
That's why I
Barson,
said
free nuggets, please.
That's why I said Maddie. Why?
Yes. Oh man, I completely missed that promotion. So I'm glad you mentioned it.
Well, because I mean, I don't know if we want to segue, but as far as promotions go, well, they haven't released what the men's promotions are, except I was looking at the calendar and I can't figure out where I was, but I saw something on one of the calendars about there being a youth promotion for the men's, and that they're doing a youth clinic. And I was like, oh, I didn't write down the date of that because I was excited about mentioning it, but I can't figure out. But then when I went back to the promotions, they're like, oh, we haven't posted the men's promotions yet. So I don't know. I can't remember how I got there, but either way.
We'll see. I hope they do some for them. I know they've been kind of testing it out with the Super League, so it'd be cool to see if we get some good ones for the USL Super League game or championship games. Because I like them. I like promotion nights. It's good, especially if it involves any sort of food or anything. Although I was lost at the Taylor Swift one, I wasn't. I
loved the Taylor Swift one.
Yeah, I tried really hard. I was like, "Come on, your wife listens to these all the time. You got to know one." And my brain was like, "I can't. I don't know any of them." I felt bad, and it's not even like a weird like, "I'm against Taylor Swift" thing. It's just like my brain never absorbed the words, and I just remember like the sound of the melodies, and that's as far as it goes. And I'm like, something, 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 and then that's it. It kind of stops.
You sound like a hater. I don't know.
I know I'm not a hater. It has nothing to do with not liking her. No, it's ADHD, Kyle. And that was really insensitive of you.
beating a punk like that.
Oh man,
take it up with DKL HR.
My brain does very selective remembering. It's not my fault. Yeah, let's transition to Super League. Want to do that? Because we can talk about like championships all night. Super League transition. All right, our guy Kyle has to depart us. He hung on way too long. Probably got something super important and pressing coming his way.
Bedtime.
Going and I thought you were just gonna go scout all the amateur teams that we might face in the Open Cup.
Go run a marathon.
This is Saving Private Kyle. We need to like save
Jessica, you
him.
did it. That's a no. So she does it and nobody says anything. He gets in trouble, huh? Let's see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Goodness.
All right.
It's been real.
Yeah, it has.
All
Kyle,
right.
sleep tight.
GG's.
All right. Adios.
Bye, man. Hey, let's stick with the promotional thing. Okay. Now that we finally got rid of Kyle.
He was really
About
weighing
time.
us down,
I
right?
know. I kept trying to
guys?
hint to him like, "Get lost, my guy," and jeez, mouth breathing in the corner over here. No, just kidding. We love Kyle. Hey, promotion nights. I know we got to talk about some player news and stuff, but I am always excited when we drop promotion nights. So for Super League, they released a few that we have. So March 1st is LSC Women's Empowerment Spring Kickoff. March 15th is Lex Wears Green. That's easy enough. March 23rd is Family Day Special. April 16th is BOGO Wednesday. 10th is Pups at the Pitch. And then 31st is School's Out Kids Day. So do you guys have one of these like circled?
Yes.
That you're like, that's the one?
The Pups on the Pitch is
I know you're going to say Pups on a Pitch.
I'm so excited for that day. I have it circled on the calendar. I'm definitely getting my wife to go with me. It's going to be, I don't want to say it's my Super Bowl because the Super Bowl is my Super Bowl. That's like equally as important, but this is like, this is my puppy bowl, literally, you know?
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. It's, I like these and I always have, except also is kind of is like a bummer because my dog is a heathen and never gets along with other dogs. Now he's just old and blind and it doesn't matter anyway. But even when he was young and spry, he just hated other dogs for no reason. We even tried to take him to training and he's just like, nope, I don't like you. I don't like you. Just get away from me, please. So I have to always watch everybody with their nice, friendly dogs that are just like, I love everybody. And I'm like, oh. But I do like it.
I think it's exciting. It has some potential to possibly be problematic because you don't know how dogs will mix together, or kids would hope, if like in your case, if they're not good with other dogs, don't bring your dog.
No,
if they're not good with kids, don't bring your dog.
It's the owners you always have to worry about.
Right. It's like, oh, they'll be fine. No. Yeah,
that's what you always have to wonder. But I think other teams have done it pretty successfully. I think Lou City, like they do it pretty regularly. So I hope they have some like good planning involved, and it'll go off really well, and everybody get to pet some pups and watch us score a million goals and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
I hope so. Maybe we'll have like a puppy bowl at halftime. Maybe they'll set that up for us.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yes. Can I be the ref?
Let's do it. Yes, you're allowed. Jessica, which one you got circled? Which one is it?
Because
Pups?
I was gonna say I think definitely the pups, but I'm also, when it comes to the amount of money it takes to go to all these games, which I mean I don't mind it because I love getting to support LSC, but whenever I can save a few bucks, and the Family Day 4 tickets for $20, you cannot beat that. And it always surprises me that people don't take advantage of these kinds of deals, or like the BOGO, another great one. And it just, like I've mentioned before, I feel like LSC is definitely a hidden gem, and they definitely deserve more credit and more support. So anytime where I can say, hey, and tell other people, hey, here's an opportunity for you to come, and it won't break the bank, and it gets people in the seats, then I'm all for that.
I like that. That was one that really stood out to me too, because I mean, obviously, with a family, it's super helpful, and I like taking the kids. And with it being a 4:00 game, those are always nice. It doesn't run into bedtime or anything, and I can take them with confidence that we're gonna get home in time to like do the things we have to do. I also kind of like though the School's Out Kids Day, partially for selfish reasons, because
reversible bucket hat is a
that
giveaway.
Crazy? Isn't that crazy? Reversible bucket hat. About to get all the bucket hats. I'm also excited because like that means I'll be on summer break. Well, that's a lie. As a librarian, I have to work extra days, so I'll still be working. But it's cool. It'll lead into summer. But it's neat that it's kid focused, kid centered. I think that the more we can lean into that with our promotions, the better off we'll be as a club. Because I mean, we already have our youth system, but getting all those kids and their parents, families, friends out to the stadium, I think is really big. Because if you're talking about the longevity of the club, they're the future fans. Like they're the ones that if they can build those memories now, they're going to keep coming back when they're adults. They're going to come back with their families one day. So I think those are really important. Which I don't know, this might be a spoiler for something later, but I think it's also cool because me and Dylan went to the season ticket holder, the founders event. And Dylan, I'm sure
So
you probably
jealous.
noticed it too. They've got a mini pitch now that they've installed. They've like, if you've ever been to Lou City Stadium, if you've been to Lynn Family Stadium, they have that mini pitch that's walled in that you can go and like the kids can play soccer on. We have one.
Where is it at? Where'd they put it?
They have it right outside of the merchandise store. So yeah,
Wow.
which is super dope. I was hoping we would get one of those. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'll be jealous if it's only for kids because I'm like, let me go in there. I'm gonna fire off some shots
Just
here.
go in, you're pushing kids over.
Yeah, push my own son out of the way. Oh, welcome to the real world. But yeah, so I think having things like that are permanent in the stadium is going to be really, really big for having kids there and getting them engaged. Because as much as kids love soccer, kids also get antsy. And at some point, they're like, cool, been sitting in this seat for 90 minutes. Neato. Can I go do something? But I think that's a nice little like, yeah, you can go do something. Go play some soccer. So that was really, really cool. But I like these. I'm excited we're doing some theme nights. I think that it's pretty dope that we got these set up, and I hope we continue to come up with really cool ideas and promotions to get people out, get them engaged and having fun. You know, and I know it's just a work in progress, testing out what works and what people are going to respond to. But this is the way you do it. You got to try stuff, see what goes down.
Definitely.
I'm going to kind of like keep on the scheduling mindset before we get to our players. I know I'm reversing on you guys. I'm just like, surprise. But since we're already talking about scheduling stuff, I'm curious. We're about to start the second half of our Super League season. Make this push to hopefully get into the playoffs, make some waves in year one. It's been tough the first half of the season, a lot of growing pains that we've been working out. Fun to watch, though. Most matches are awesome. It's just we've got stuff to kind of figure out. Seeing our schedule, we're not going to do like a full schedule prediction, at least not yet. We might say that for another episode where we do it for both sides. But I'm just curious, just on the surface level, is there a match that kind of stands out to you all that like, I'm ready for that match? I want to see what goes down with it. Can I go first?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Mine is going to be March 1st. Our first home match back for the season. That's because it's up against Brooklyn, and Brooklyn is insane. They've proven to be like top competitors in the Super League. And so with our additions that we're going to talk about here shortly, I am very curious to see our new look tested out against Brooklyn, or even just a refinement of our old look. I mean, however you want to put it, whatever we put on that field, I think that will be like the test. And yes, I know we play Carolina first. That's our first game back from the break. And I know Carolina does great. I know Fort Lauderdale has been a challenge. But for me, based on like how we've done against all these teams, Brooklyn is like the team that I think is going to be the true litmus test for like, okay, where are we at now? What do we look like now after half of a season, after some additions and subtractions? Who are we? And can we kind of hang with these teams that have been at this category of proficiency on the field? So that's mine. That's the one I'm like right now. I'm like, all right, I got to see who you got.
Mine is along a similar train of thought as far as seeing improvements and kind of where we are after the break. And that's with Dallas because they're also kind of towards the top of the standings. Each game we've played against them, we've lost. But the first game we lost, it was 6-2. Second game, it was 3-2. So it would be nice to, and it along those same lines, we lost our first game against DC, but then we beat them 3-0 when we played them again. So there's definitely been some improvements going on. So it'd be really nice to see see a win against Dallas, in my opinion.
Good choice.
For me, it's going to be an away match, and it's going to be our away match on April 19th against Brooklyn. And kind of the same reasons for, what you said, Tyler. Brooklyn's just a very, very good team. I think we need to be able to get some results away. And I think even a draw against Brooklyn away in this match would be a win in my book because of just how stout they are as a team and getting points away. I think that would be super key. So I have this one as like my important game. And I think it's just also an important time in the season because right after that, we have an away game against Dallas, who is also a good team, and then Spokane, who we've kind of battled with a little bit. But then we have a three game home stretch. So I feel like just the importance of the timing of Saturday, April 19th, it's kind of the middle of the season, and it could be like the climax of our season. And like I said, away match would be fantastic to get points away at.
It's definitely, in my mind, it's really weird but exciting that we had like this break because I almost feel like we're going into a brand new season, which in some ways we are. Like this amount of time off, like players are getting refreshed. They get to meet back up and start like training, refining. You add players in, and it's not just like you're inserting them in the middle of like a week's worth of matches. You're inserting them whenever you guys have time to try and figure things out and be like, all right, how are we going to mesh? How are we going to make this work? What's our new setup going to look like? All that good stuff. So it's very interesting to me. I'm very curious how this is all going to play out, because I don't think we've really experienced this, right? Like it's so strange to think, even in regards to like any type of extended break we've ever had with like, say, our men's team, it's truly been an off season. It's been a full off season with brand new players by the boatloads. This is the first time where we have some carry forward after a pretty extensive, I would say it's an extensive break. And then we get a new look, hopefully, and start getting some results. Which, I mean, speaking of new looks, kind of switch gears there. Look at that transition. That was good. 2 players left us. I don't know if that many people noticed it. Like, I feel like it was out there. It was announced, but I don't think a lot of like fuss was made about it. Probably because we didn't see a lot of these players on the pitch. Madeline Homie, who was out of Norway, she was our winger that we had signed, really young, really talented. We never got a chance to see her really at all, actually, which was kind of mysterious. Everybody was like, whoa, what's going to happen with her? And is she going to make an appearance? We need some extra help, but never did. And then we also had Kim Mendez, who had that insane last-second header in that game, towards the beginning of the season. She departed as well, which, I mean, don't know if it was for one particular reason or another. I don't know if it was mutual or if one party was like, meh, no thank you. But it is kind of a shame we didn't get to see more of them. But I also understand you have to really kind of refine who you're going to put on the field and make those tough decisions. And some players, unfortunately, it kind of works out that they end up not getting those looks, not because they're not good players, right? They could be really awesome players, but once you kind of settle into your groove and you find your chemistry and your players that you feel like, okay, they're the ones that vibe best with each other. Yeah, sometimes opportunities are scarce. So I just hope, I'm grateful for them even being with the club and contributions, that insane goal from Kim. Like that's one of those ones that you're just going to remember for a long time if you were there. So it was cool that they decided to join us, and I wish we could have seen them more, and I wish we could have seen them throughout the season. And I hope they go somewhere and they tear it up. It's always cool to me whenever we see players that do move on for whatever reason, be successful elsewhere, unless it's a rival. Like I won't lie, Charlie. I don't think Charlie's listening right now. But like Charlie when he went to One Knox, there was a couple times I was like, Charlie, I don't know if I want you to do good right now. as a person, I want you to do good, but as your team, I don't want your team to succeed. You have a 9.0 rating on FOTMob, but then the rest of your team have a 0.1. We'll compromise with that, but I do hope they have good success wherever it might be. It is kind of weird though, right? Does it feel weird that we're already saying bye to players from the Super League?
Yeah.
It's like super strange feeling, but we also had to make room for players, which despite us getting rid of 2, we added quite a few, right? We 5 at this point. that we managed to put onto the team to kind of bolster things. Which, yeah, I don't know. I start wondering, like, are there going to be more departures because we haven't started playing yet? I have no clue. This isn't me hinting. So those people that are like, Tyler knows, I see him winking. That, by the way, that wasn't a serious wink. That was so don't take it too far, you people out there that are thinking these grand things that I'm hinting at. I really don't know, but you do kind of like notice that we had so many more players than we let go. So maybe it's just a matter of some of our players that experienced preseason injuries and we haven't gotten to see. Maybe it's taken a little bit longer than what we had hoped, and so we're needing some reinforcements to make us more versatile until things kind of settle down. I don't know, but I think we got some pretty solid ballers. I think we got some people that I think can make a pretty good impact on the field, personally. So what we got joining us, what was it? Two forwards, 2 defenders, and a midfielder?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of help on defense, a lot of help in the forwards departments, and then a little bit of help in the middle of the pitch. So joining us, we had Hannah White, who is a forward. We had Cynthia Cabezas, who's a center back. Nicole Vernus, who's a midfielder. Yonera Lopez, who's a defender. I think she can play center back and outside back. And then we've also got Kate Doyle, who's a forward. Looking at these players, somebody asked, like, where's your write-up? And I was like, man, I really wanted to do one, but my life is a mess right now, doing a kitchen remodel and coaching and everything. I was just like, there's no time. But with each of these, I think there's like some pretty solid talent here and something good to be said about their contributions. 3 of the players, this is going to be their professional debut. Like, they've been collegiate athletes, 2 coming out of Georgia. We have somebody that played at USC, Gonzaga, kind of split time. And then we have a couple players coming out of Columbia, which both featured for Columbia's U20 team in the U20 World Cup, which I think is pretty cool. So a lot of potential coming out of all these players. What are our initial thoughts just about beefing up our forwards, beefing up our defense, adding a talent to our midfield, and just maybe the levels or places we're choosing them from?
So I thought these were pretty good signings overall. Like, if I'm rating like the group as one signing, I would give it like a 4 out of 5 or like a 3.5 out of 5, something around that range. Right. I think it covers some needs. I think defense was one of our weak points, and I thought, Lopez was like a really, really good pickup for us.
Yeah.
And we might see her instantly starting, or like in my mind, that's what would happen. The others, like Hannah White and Nicole Vernus have a very similar story. Hannah White started at USC, and she wasn't getting the minutes, maybe that she needed. And then she transferred to Georgia, and then her, production went, increasingly, high. And she was one of their best players. And she did that for 2 years. And then Nicole Vernus, she was at Florida. She was getting the minutes, but she wasn't necessarily making the most of her time. But then she transferred to Georgia, graduate transfer, and same thing. In 2023, both Hannah and Nicole were the leaders in like production for their team for like points added. So that's like something to say. And for Kate Doyle, she was good at Gonzaga, but then she transferred, and it's the same story. She just exploded her career even further. Like, she got even better. So the trajectory of these 3 is just like insane. And I think if they continue to get minutes, they will continue to flourish in their respective positions. So I'm like really excited about these signings overall, like all of them.
Yeah. So here's a question. If you think Lopez is a possible starter, who do you think she might replace?
That is tough.
Yeah.
Like, this is the thing about like coaching, is I feel like it gets like super tricky because, obviously Sydney Shepherd has done really great. She scored goals for us even as a defender. Maddie Perez has done awesome, like dead ball specialist, assist after assist. She does so good.
Shin.
Yeah, and
Shin and
Shin.
Mackin.
I feel like Shin like is kind of safe in the sense of like she has been like so productive no matter where we put her. I don't know that you really would sacrifice Shin.
Yeah,
Out of
to me,
everything.
I would say Lopez and Shin are my locks in the back line.
Yeah. And I could kind of see where Lopez has played fullback. I could see her being in a fullback role because that seems to be where we've had the most rotation in our back line, unless it's been out of necessity. Like if we needed a center back because something happened to one of them, then we make changes. But I feel like otherwise it's been very much like fullbacks are just in flux constantly, which isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes it's nice because you keep those fresh legs for a really demanding position. So I'm very curious to see where we actually deploy her and if she ends up being like a starter, because I mean, she started in 2 separate U20 World Cups for Colombia. So clearly starter caliber in a national team respect. But then you also like have to factor in, okay, is she with us already? If she is with us, how much is she gelled to the system and the other players? What's communication like? All those little factors that you start wondering about. So that's something I'm really interested to see, is how quickly we see these players plugged in, or if it's more of like we ease them into it. Um, yeah, that's a tough one just because of all the different things. I do think Lopez is brought in to be like a starter at some point, even if it's not like right out of the gate. I think she'll be in that position. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we definitely got some really good attacking talent. I mean, like Dylan, you mentioned Kate Doyle at Gonzaga. She's like in top 10 for career goals, assists, points, game-winning goals, all kinds of insaneness. And then like Hannah White is known for being like a really aggressive pressing forward. So like my brain starts going to like, can you imagine somebody like Hannah White who presses like a monster, like her plus Maddie Parsons?
So many
Like,
possibilities. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and I
I'm like,
wonder,
what?
I had similar thoughts too, especially going against teams like Brooklyn, who's
Yeah.
also very aggressive in that sense. So I wonder, yeah, strategy wise, if that's kind of what we're trying to add to the team.
Yeah. And, something that I didn't mention either, I mentioned players that departed. I mean, technically, you could throw Amanda Allen into that mix too, because when she left, we didn't immediately replace her. So, we had 3 players that we're having to fill holes for. So, really, we're just up 2. So, we do have a pretty packed team. And then, of course, there's always the possibility that we have injured players or previously injured players start to make their presence known. Like statuses of injuries are tricky. It's kind of a day by day thing, especially depending on the type of injury. But you start wondering, okay, like are they going to appear on the scene at some point, and will that further change kind of the dynamic of what's happening here? But I do feel encouraged that we went and looked for some talent, and I think some people still think like, oh, but we didn't go like snag somebody out of NWSL or something like that. But I think for what the Super League is currently, there's nothing wrong with looking elsewhere, looking collegiately. People that had successful college careers, bring them in, let their career start to flourish. Go grab some international talents that have featured in things like both of our pickups from Colombia. They both featured in the U20 World Cup team at some point. So I like where we're getting our talent.
One thing that I think it's really important for people to know is that in America, the best women products are coming from college soccer. Like they're going to good programs and they're, developing through these years with really talented coaches in women's soccer are in the collegiate level. And, so grabbing from a big school like Georgia is a smart move. Like these are players who are getting a lot of minutes and they're getting a lot of good experience, like in big game experience too. And they're being taught by really smart coaches and they're going to be professional ready. And, that's one thing that American soccer is good for is for the women's, for the collegiate athletes, they're professional ready to start. So I think that's a a smart move for us to go, get some good collegiate talent.
100% agree. And there's nothing wrong with that, especially, somebody had asked us too when we put out questions, like, hey, I saw a reporter talk about how our roster's really bloated. Our attendance hasn't been amazing. Is that going to start to become an issue? Basically insinuating that, we're paying all these players, and then can we justify the bill for them? Which, number one, like, our owners, I think they're willing to put out the money as long as they see yields. And right now we're young, and those yields are sometimes going to come slow. And I think we still have to remind ourselves of that, especially with Super League. This is the first season of the Super League. So it's essentially starting all the way over. So any momentum and, any gripes people might have about our status on the men's side, being like, hey, we've had 2 years, this is year 3, what's going to happen? You can't really apply that so much to the Super League. So I think that our owners recognize that and realize, like, it's a slow burn. It's a process. It's going to take money. It's going to take investment. And sometimes you have to kind of build a big team and then start paring down. Okay, but who are we taking out of this big team? Who's going to really be those impact players? Because, I have high hopes that we finish really, really strong. I don't think anybody doesn't. But you also have to consider, like, this is kind of our time in year 1 to work things out and figure out, like, all right, how do we build a strong core, and where's that strong core going to come from? And sometimes it might be from somewhere you don't really expect. I mean, seriously though, think about like Maddie Parsons. I remember like somebody, I forget who it was, somebody I know that's really plugged into women's soccer. And I hate to always bring up Maddie Parsons. It's not like she's the only person on the team, but I remember somebody was really doubting her effectiveness and saying, like, he didn't really rate her being added to the team at the very beginning of all this. And now what? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
that guy can eat it.
Yeah, right. It's like, you don't even know what you're talking about, buddy. But and she wasn't the only one that he mentioned. Like, there were a couple other players that he's just like, I don't know. And it's like somebody that's really plugged into NWSL and a couple other like women's leagues, and presumably knows what they're talking about. But that just goes to show that just because you foresee something playing out a certain way, and you have all this data or this information that you've gathered elsewhere, doesn't mean people can't rise to the occasion and really show out and blossom in a certain system or in a certain setting. So I think that we can hope that maybe that will happen here, and we'll see a more refined version of the Super League team for the second half of the year. Like, that's my hope for what we're going to see. My biggest thing is I don't want us to lose the fun factor. And I'm sure there are people out there being like, man, like, you guys lose. Why is that fun? But I think we can all admit, like, Super League games are exciting. You know what I mean? It might not be fun to lose or draw when we could have gotten a win, but it is definitely fun to see the effort from the team and just kind of like the vibes. Most games they're coming out there, just full force and, hitting the nitrous. So I want to see more of that. And I think these signings prove that we're going to be doing that, because none of these are like play it safe types. These are like impact players that have really shown that they can add that extra little spice to their teams and take them to a new level. So I'm really, really, really excited to see what they have to offer. And I hope, and this is nothing, like I'm saying, I hope some players lose their spot to these new players that just came in, but I do hope we get to see them used pretty quickly so we can really get a feel for what it is they're bringing to the table and what Mike Dickey and Michelle Rayner are seeing out of them, and how that can hopefully push us to success this year. So I got thumbs up on this.
I've talked to some of the players, and they said that the break was really nice for them, and getting back to the training has been really good, and there's some good vibes going into the spring season. So I'm looking forward to it as well.
100%.
This is a super random note, but I seriously wonder, talking about the new players has made me think of this. Is their contract, is it in their contract that they get free Costco membership?
that is funny. Yes.
I've run into okay, so the first time I for sure I ran into Atez, Anthony Patty, Pierre,
Eric.
And then the second time I texted Tyler. I felt like such a creeper. I messaged him on Instagram and he hasn't messaged me back. Probably because he's like, what the heck?
I don't even know
But
you, lady.
I think I saw Danny Barbier, and I was like, oh my, because like super tall dude.
Yeah,
And I was
he
like,
is.
I think that's him. And I had my LSC sweatshirt on, and I tried to
Yeah.
be really like slick about it. Was like, maybe he'll see it, but he was talking to someone. I'm like, so do they get Costco memberships? I
I
don't.
bet they do. That's a good question for
I
the club
see
because
them. It is
yes,
me going and thinking I might run into an LSC player. The odds are pretty high.
they need to like have like an event or something at Costco. I ran into Eric myself one time at Costco.
No
So
way.
like there's something
Yeah.
to it. I feel
For sure.
they all at least like going there. So
Come to LSC, get
if
a
you're
Costco
listening,
membership.
yeah, you might want to get your Costco membership re-upped because you just like hang out next to like the free samples and run into an LSC player. They're like,
Oh my
hey
gosh.
buddy, you like soccer? Like, who are you?
There needs to be like a hot dog deal of some sort.
Oh
You
man.
know,
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yes.
Costco hot dogs at the stadium. Oh my gosh. Yep.
There we go. That's the move right there.
Yeah. Let's do it. Anyways,
Maybe the
random.
Costco-sized box of Vuvuzelas, but all LSC green with the emblem on it. There we go. Actually, I'm not gonna lie.
bad.
Vuvuzelas are kind of obnoxious. I'm gonna be one of those people. I sound like a old like cranky person. Like those Vuvuzelas. They're not that bad.
You keep saying them weird to me. Vuvuzelas?
What
Is that
is
what
it?
it is? Vuvuzuela? Isn't
What
am I
is
saying
it?
it wrong?
You keep saying Zuela, and I'm
Is it not
like,
Zuela?
I don't know.
What
I
is
don't
it?
know either.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I think I
The
might
horns.
I might
The
be dumb
horns.
Americanizing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You might be saying it right.
Silly American.
Yeah, I might be. Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
I don't know. I might be messing it up.
So I don't know if Danny Barbier is listening to our podcast, but if it was you at Costco and I was creepy by messaging you, I'm sorry.
I mean, yeah, we're sorry for Jessica, but at the same time, if you bring Christian Pulisic out to a game, whatever, no big deal. It's not like we're all gonna freak out or anything. It's fine. Do you know they're like friends? They have like a bunch of Instagram posts just hanging out and stuff. So yeah, confirmed he'll be at a game. It's not confirmed. Nobody hold me to that. I have no
No.
say in that.
Speaking of seeing LSC people, though, you guys got to go to the founders dinner, which I'm super jealous about.
That was cool. It was neat. Like it was raining so hard.
Yeah.
Which like the worst part about it is I didn't like zip up my rain jacket and I walked under like the little awning thing. And right when I walked under it, water literally poured down the front of my shirt.
Oh.
It was pour like all over me, and I had zero time to react because it was like millimeters in front of me, so there's zero ability to like dodge. And I was like, cool. I see you, LSC, trying to make me go into the team shop and buy new gear. I see what this plot is right now, but I don't know. It was really cool. We were in the second round. Me and Dylan actually ended up being in the 7:30. There was an earlier group, so I think we missed a lot of people. But I mean, despite the rain, I thought it was kind of nice. It was cool. It's like
Did you
a
get to
cool,
meet
cozy
players
atmosphere.
too?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna get to meet players too. That would have been cool.
No players that time. Yep. But Boss was there. They read off some questions that people submitted. They asked if anybody else had any questions. There were like little mini sandwiches, and like Dylan ate like 14 cookies. They were delicious cookies.
They
so
were
I can't
really
blame
good.
them.
I only had
Their
one
drinks.
cookie, to be honest. And I'm really upset that I only had the one. They had the drinks
yeah.
too. They were free drinks too.
Yeah.
Which was really nice.
Right.
So.
That was pretty dope. And then the locker room tour. So it was like short and sweet, but it was still cool. And then we got to pick up our founder members gift, which
what was it?
Behind me. You should have mine behind me. I haven't unboxed it yet because I've been so busy. But it was a fancy box.
Live unboxing.
Oh yeah, I'm like Ryan's World up in here. What's in the box? I don't know. One of my buddy's kids used to watch that. Yeah. But it came. Oh, it just fell out. That was a bad unboxing.
You got a scarf.
I'm not getting rich. Yeah, it
this
came
is
with
the first time.
The black scarves. It is my first unboxing.
Wait, so are they just getting rid of the old black scarves, or is it a different black scarf?
This one says founder on it.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's like legit. And then they had this cool
cup,
little wooden cup that was engraved. I'm trying to find the engraving so I can show it to you.
Bet it's hand.
Yeah, it's right there.
There it is.
It's hard to see.
I don't know if you can see it. Yeah,
mine's hard to see too. Mine's on my desk as well. Hold on.
It looks way better in person than on my terrible camera.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was super neat. And
You gotta do the hand, but no, I'm just
Can you
kidding.
see mine?
Oh, a little bit. Yeah.
It's hard to see through the grain on the camera, but like seriously
Yeah.
in person, it's a lot more visible than there. But got a
Man.
black scarf, which is cool because our kittens last year tore up my black scarf. So
Oh no.
now I'm good.
So instead of having FOMO for not getting to go to that, I just need to become a season ticket member so that I can go to the next one.
No more FOMO. No more FOMO.
Yep. I got
missing out
to.
ever.
We got to talk to Boss again too, which was nice. He remembered me, which I was really surprised about. That was cool. So.
Yeah, he's like, you again. No.
Who let you in here?
He was like, of course I remembered. You're so good looking. That's what he said to me.
Bounce him. And then Ethan Hone showed up. And
you're not the other guy that's bald with the beard? Oh, I was thinking of the other one.
We actually just wore the same outfit and we switched off who was talking to him to see if he would notice. And he gave us like a weird look every once in a while. And then he's like, okay, I guess you're the same person.
Oh my goodness.
Was
there anything was there anything during it that was new or different that you guys were that made you makes you more excited for the season?
I just feel like the answers he gave made me excited for the season. The biggest thing that he said that like stood out to me, which of course, like you have to take some things with a grain of salt. And this is nothing against, Coach Boss, but every coach has to do the whole, this coach is speak. Home and this is what, we want to do. But I did appreciate how he made a point to talk about how, like, when he was building our roster, he really focused on the character of the players and kind of like their desire and the way they want to represent the club. And so I think that was really cool to hear, as far as bringing in all this great talent, you see their stats, you see how good they've done for other teams, but then, to attest to their character at the same time. And it wasn't just him. Lots of people, that we're really familiar with, that work closely with the club, they said the same thing. They were like, these guys have good vibes. They have very good vibes. And it just seems like a fun group of guys to root for. So like for me, that put me at ease in a lot of ways because, I say it 400 times an episode, you give me like a whole team full of like good guys that want to try their hardest just for the fans and the badge. I'm happy. I'm happy all day, and I hope that's what we're actually getting. But it sounds like by all accounts it is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Cool. My only takeaway is that they need more air fresheners in the locker room.
Oh boy.
Oh, no. That was indeed a locker room.
Oh,
yeah.
We left him. My wife was like, man, that smells like sweaty man socks in there. And I'm like, well.
Maybe leave the doors open at night or something,
Yeah, just air it out a little bit.
Yeah,
get some refreshers in there.
Get some air purifiers.
Yeah.
But you know what? Didn't bother me because it just smelled like hard work. So whatever.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
Determination.
That's right. So it was cool getting to see some of that stuff though, and getting a little behind the scenes peek. And they said they want to do more stuff for fans, not just for season ticket holders, but for fans in general in the near future. So I think that's really great because, of course, season ticket holders, in my opinion, definitely deserve something cool and nice for that loyalty, for that, hanging around and, going to every single match or having tickets for every single match. But it's also very important to recognize people that, it's not necessarily they don't want to be at every single match. It's just life is busy and life happens. I know some people that their kids play for the youth system and they're like, we're so busy with our kid playing soccer that we can't go to every single game. So buying season tickets is a little tricky for us because we're not going to get to use even half of them.
Right.
So I do think it's important to still offer opportunities for people who love the club, but don't necessarily have the means to get season tickets and can only come when they can.
Right.
Make them feel special. I think that's, going to be great if they can pull that off.
For sure.
It was great though.
Nice.
Hopefully more in the future. All right. We did hour and a half. We always try and be concise and we can't. We even cut out a lot of chit chat. What the heck? And we're still at an hour and a half. It's Dylan's fault. There's that tinfoil hat talk that he made me go on a tangent about earlier.
You agreed with me.
I can't believe you made me do that.
Now Kyle's not here. We can blame it on him, right?
It's all right. Jeez, Kyle. Him and his like wallpapered background. Jeez, trying to out fancy the rest of us. But no, it's cool. We got some more preseason action coming up for the men's team here very shortly. women's first game. Oh my gosh, it's like
2
February
weeks?
15th. February 15th. What the heck? It's like right
it's
upon
very
us.
soon.
Yes.
It's
I feel like it
exciting.
was so far away, and now all of a sudden I'm like, it's here. It's here. We finally made it. And with it being February, it's kind of nice that those starting ones are away. So that way, maybe by March 1st, it's
We won't
tiny bit
freeze.
warmer. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. March is always kind of a tricky one. So, but hey, like everybody, make sure you get tickets for the teams, whatever ones you can get, right? Whatever you can afford, wherever you can swing as far as, reasonably being like, I can make it to these based on my schedule, my financial situation, whatever it might be. Come support these teams. It's cool. Definitely make sure that you start snagging match tickets for our game against Louisville in July. The single match tickets came out today, and I noticed that Louisville's account on Twitter was like, let's make sure we turn the whole place purple. And it's like, buddy, half of your fans are Lexington fans. Calm down. Like, they're split allegiance anyway. So even if they're wearing purple, I know their heart's green. But I would prefer that we didn't have an immense amount of purple in our own stadium for that match. So I don't know, just swindle your 90-year-old grandma into coming. Tell her that they're, I don't know, free snacks. Whatever you got to do. Get people out there. Make sure that they come and don't let it become like a giant sea of purple, please. But we got lots going on. We'll be back next time with some more talk about LSC. Who knows? Might be some more signings. I kind of suspect maybe we got a couple more coming. Of course, we're going to be right up on the cusp of the season for the women. So next one actually probably be a prediction show. I bet that'll be good timing for a prediction show for us to try and figure out what's going to happen for the entirety of the second half of the women's season and the entirety of the men's season. Don't worry, we're not going to spend 10 minutes per game, but we'll give you our thoughts on it. Until then, any final thoughts? No?
Nope, nothing.
Okay, get your Costco membership so we can meet the whole team. All right, y'all.
Goodness.
Well, good show. Everybody, you know what it is. Come on, you greens.